Hello, everybody. John Foster, Global Sports Network, talking tennis with John Foster. Couple stories for you. Got three stories, a tennis tip. I have a great quote for you today, and we also have a practice habit I'm going to give you. First story, Jeff Tarango, my friend Jeff Tarango. Oh boy, Jeff, what a genius! This guy. Met him a couple years, many years ago now. River Oaks Country Club used to pick him up from the airport when he came in. Almost had him as my touring pro at the Briar Club when I managed the Briar Club. Anyhow, I'm going to tell you a little story. I was reading a book the other night, Andre Agassi. And Agassi was mentioning how he went and played Wimbledon, and that was the year that the famous time where his wife slaps the umpire. Okay, well, Jeff, had his antics on the court, and he gets off the court, and his wife approached the umpire that he had a problem with, but she's French. Everybody, that's not a big deal. In France, that's what the women do. They take the glove and they hit the gentleman in the face. So anyhow, Jeff Tarango, I know his wife sat with her one time. And Jeff, people don't know this about Jeff, but Jeff is a brilliant guy. He's actually genius. Very well educated, smart man. Where he goes berserk is where when he sees incompetency. On the court. When you know your sport and you know what you're doing and then there's incompetence going on around you, you lose it. And he's one person that loses it, and he has that competitive attitude. So that's what happens there. The referees and everyone, we walk around the tournament, prior to the umpires, they all respect him. And he's an unbelievable nice guy, smart guy. They want to talk to him. They're all friends. But then on the court, on the tennis court, when he competes, and he sees incompetence of whether it's a line call or a judge that doesn't know the rules exactly the way they are. All the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. He loses it. I'm sitting there with him, with his wife, watching him play at River Oaks one year. I got a good story. That's one of my other stories. And Jeff, if he loses it, you're embarrassed knowing him, because you never know what he's going to say. All right, let's get on to our tennis tip. Tennis tip today is about the shot. The harder the shot, the more balance you need. Okay, I don't get it. I tell kids this on a constant basis. Like when somebody receives a hard, deep ball deep to the corner and you run over there to go hit it, they hit the ball and they fall all off of balance and they fall back and they jump back and they lose their balance. The more difficult the ball comes, the more stuck into the ground you got to get. Okay, and the more easy and soft you have to, not soft, that's the wrong word, but the more compact you need to make everything, keep everything balanced and together. Got it? So when it's easy, then you can jump and explode, load and explode on balls. But something comes difficult, you need more balance, not less balance. Okay? The more difficult, the more balance you need, not less. Got it. All right, let's move on to our story number 2. We're going to talk about somebody that everybody gets to see on TV. I've been watching her my whole life, okay? ESPN, or our very own Mary Jo Fernandez. Mary Jo Fernandez. People don't know, I tell people it's so fun. When she was 9 years old in Kendall Lakes in Miami, Florida, where she grew up, her dad used to pay me $15. I was on the high school tennis team, barely. I'd just taken up tennis, 15 years old, 16 years old, and I really wasn't that good, but her dad would pay me $15 to hit with this little 9-year-old girl, so we're hitting the ball back and forth, and I'm getting paid $15, being 14. I was like, making my money. So anyhow, who's this little girl going to be? And we kind of knew she was special. We didn't know she'd be that special, get to, top 10 in the world somewhere. And now she's a famous commentator and a great person, great family she has too. So a little story about Mary Jo Fernandez. All right, let's get into today our practice habit. Practice habit. In tennis, when you practice, I watch a lot of kids. They go after a ball and they get to the ball and then they just bump it back into the court. The good players don't do that. They know when they get to a ball, what are the shots I have to do? And I learned this from Rick Macy also. He taught Venus and Serena Williams this. When you get to a ball, I'm either doing that or that. You have two choices, or maybe a third choice. That, or here's your other option. You need to know your options. if your option is just to push it back over the net, well, you're not beating anybody. You're never going to win tennis tournaments, okay? The good players, when they get to a ball, they're going to do with the ball. If you can hit it, you should make it. We covered that before. You're going to take the ball and put it to a certain part of the court that's going to allow you an opportunity to win that point. If you play a good player and you bump the ball back in the middle of the court, a good player, they're not going to miss. They don't miss. Hopefully one day you attain a level where you don't miss, okay? So you have to hit the ball. You have to have an option, and you have to hit the ball to a winning target. So have winning targets. All right. We're going to get into story number 3. It involves Jeff Tarango again. My buddy Jeff. All right. So Jeff just plays. He's getting ready to retire. He's a little older. I don't know if people know about Jeff Tarango, but he was top 50, top 20 in the world probably a lot of his life in doubles. Singles, top 100 of the world, his old, I don't know, 12, 13, 15 years he played on the Pro Tour. You know, top 100 in the world in singles. Not a great singles player, great doubles player. Like I said, a lot higher ranking in the doubles. So Jeff just gets done playing in Miami just before coming to River Oaks Country Club to play. It wasn't the U.S. clay course then, it was the River Oaks International Tennis Tournament, which is the largest tournament, or not the largest, it's the oldest tournament in America. People don't know that. And it's also the second most expensive tournament, sporting event to go to, besides the Masters. That's number one, to spend money and go to an event. Another story, another day. Anyhow, Jeff Tarango comes in. He just gets done playing Andre Agassi in the Miami Open. Miami Open, the Ericsson, the NASDAQ, the Lipton back in the day when I went there, okay? Now it's the 5th most important tennis tournament on the tour, besides the 4 Grand Slams. This is it for points. It counts the most. Where I'm from in Miami there. So Jeff plays Andre Agassi, playing some of his best tennis. I mean, a year or two before he retires. And he plays Agassi, he loses Agassi, but it's the semifinals of Miami. Now he's coming to River Oaks to play. So comes in. I knew Jeff, I think, from the year before that. I think maybe the second year I met him. So I pick him up at the airport and we're talking. I got some stories from that too another day. So pick Jeff up, and well, he winds up playing a guy named Steve Bryant. Steve Bryant's from Texas. I know Steve. I think Steve's living in Austin, running a tennis academy now. He was one of the top juniors in the world growing up. Kicked my butt one time. I should have had him. I didn't. Anyhow, so Steve Bryant. Now Steve has a contingency in Texas, Houston, of he's a Texas guy, and he got to, I think, around 50 in the world, I believe. Don't quote me, but in the top 100 for sure, close to 50, maybe even 30, I don't know. Very good player on the tour for many, many years. So he's playing, but Steve's retired for a year now. Steve hasn't played any tennis, really. I mean, not on the tour. He's been retired a year. He's married, and so Jeff Tarango and him face off. So it should be an easy match for Jeff, to beat this guy that's been retired for a year. And Jeff just came off playing in, some of his best singles play. So they go out there and they play 3 sets, 7-6, 6-7, 7-6, no breaks to serve. Steve Bryant wins the match. Jeff Tarango is beside himself. You can only imagine. I mean, this guy can't be playing this kind of tennis. You would think, and I'm with Jeff. I mean, okay, fine, Steve, you're playing good. He's got his little crowd up there. He can't hang in there the whole match. Hangs in there the whole match, plays some of his best tennis of his life, and beats Jeff Tarango when he's playing some of the best singles in his life. Go figure. Clay courts, maybe. All right, let's wrap this up with the quote of the day. Here we go. This is a quote that I put on the back of my business cards, and it's been there for, wow, I don't know, over 10 years right now. I've kept it on all my business cards, and I intend to keep it on my business cards forever and ever unless I come up with something better. Okay, but this guy, Aristotle, he figured this one out, Aristotle, and he says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is an act. Is not an act, but a habit. So, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." Aristotle. So what we do in our daily work, if you practice excellence or you practice being perfect, this is who you are. If you practice being not perfect or you practice being run of the road, then it's not. I'm going to wrap this up with a story to give you an example of excellence at its best. Our own famous J.J. Watt, Houston Texans. There was a time when he made his breakout year and then he, boom, picks off the ball, like boom, and runs it in for a touchdown. We win our first playoff game against Cincinnati, okay? So they're talking to Andre Johnson one day about, hey, Andre, that's an unbelievable catch, which it was. He threw it from about less than 10 yards away, and, you throw an NFL quarterback throws a bullet out there, and he just goes, thunk, tucks it in and runs it for a touchdown. That was a pretty good catch. What do you think of that catch, Andre, as they're interviewing him? And Andre looks at him and says, well, we've seen him do it in practice. We just never watched him do it in a game. Something to think about. He didn't get lucky. He's done it before. People that do great things practice great things. Talking Tennis with John Foster. Stay in touch next week. Thank you.